I'm here to step in on the thing of the subcommittee. They're currently voting on the subcommittee, and I got invited with the sanitation out. Yeah. What are you doing? Fair enough. You gotta find a seat.
All right, it's 7 o'clock. Is everyone ready to begin? All right. Good evening, everybody, and I'll call this meeting of Saanich Council to order on Monday, October the 26th. Tonight's meeting is a council meeting, and the agenda is laid out in sections A through G. We should note that a late item has been added, item F2, ratification of the development permit amendment at 3481 Cook Street.
Could you speak louder, please? We can't hear.
Is that better?
Yes.
Thank you.
Tonight's meeting is a council meeting, and the agenda is laid out in sections A through G. A late item has been added as F2, ratification of the development permit amendment at 3481 Cook Street. Section A is a public hearing, and we will set out those procedures shortly. Public input will be invited on council agenda items E, F, and G. If you would like to address council during public input, please come up to the microphone, give us your name and address and your comments. And we ask you that you limit your comments to 5 minutes. There is a light up at the podium there, and it will show amber when you are nearing the end of your speaking time, and we ask that you please wrap up your comments. The red light flashing signals that you have reached the end of the speaking time. Following the adjournment of the council meeting, we invite your comments and questions in the open forum session, and I'll explain that a little bit as we get to that section. Now, let's start with the public hearing. The clerk will introduce the item, following which council will be given an opportunity to ask questions of staff. I will then request the applicant to present the proposal to council and the public. Following the presentation, I will call a total of 3 times for those persons wishing to be heard either in favor or opposition to the application. If you wish to speak on the item being considered, please come up to the microphone. State your name and address, and then give your comments. Once the call for public input has been given 3 times consecutively, no further representation from the public can be considered. After all persons wishing to address council have been heard, I will then invite the applicant up to the microphone to answer any questions on the information that may have come forward. Once the applicant has been provided with an opportunity to respond, I will then close the public hearing and then ask council to debate the matter. So with that, I will ask the clerk to introduce the first item in the public hearing. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This public hearing is for zoning bylaw 2003, amendment bylaw 2015, number 9351. It's proposed rezoning for a 2-lot residential subdivision on Valley Terrace. This is to rezone Lot T, Section 62, Victoria District, Plan 4808, 1167, Valley Terrace, from Zone RS6, single-family dwelling, minimum lot size of 560 square meters, to Zone RS4 for single-family dwelling, minimum lot size 460 square meters, for the proposed subdivision to create 1 additional lot for single-family dwelling use. Council will also consider a development variance permit, which will provide variances for lot depth and building setbacks, and a covenant will also be considered to regulate the use of land and buildings on the site. Council is in receipt of reports, the supplemental report from the Director of Planning of September 14th and the report from the Director of Planning of July 29th, 2014. Excerpt from the Committee of the Whole minutes of August 17th, 2015. Correspondence from the Community Association, from the Cedar Hill Community Association. There are 12 letters from residents that are included in the package, and 1 additional piece of correspondence that is circulated separately. That is the extent, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Are there any questions from council to staff? Seeing none, I'll then invite the applicant up to the microphone.
Thank you, Your Worship and Council. Thank you, Your Worship and Council. And good evening. And thank you for the opportunity to speak. So the property is owned by myself and my wife, and about a year ago I decided to entertain the idea of creating a new lot on this property, and I assembled a team that I have shown there, an architect, a Victoria Design, landscape gentleman, and engineering as well to ensure that I met all concerns. pictures are important, and I have here this is a sensitive infill. I've tried to be very consultative with the neighbors, and the existing home, which you can see on the picture on the left, the white home, will be retained, and the new lot proposed is where I have the cursor in this lower section on the grassed area. So fortunately, there's no real environmental, there's not a lot to carry over, there's nothing, it's clean. There is a hedge you can see with my cursor going along there. That's actually road dedication. The lot is about 12,000 square feet, but there's road dedication on both ends of the property, and part of the submission to create a new RS4 lot will be that this hedge will be removed, but at the same time there will be some evergreens planted, which was the request of council at the previous meeting. The stakeholder discussions, I met with initially a number of times with neighbors to the east and west and all around, and went thoroughly across Clow Valley Terrace and along Cook Street, asking for input and showing what I was proposing. And again, this is just a different angle that shows the property. You can see there's a driveway, and actually the new home will, the garage will be up the driveway and off of the street, off of Cobb Lane. And again, it just shows the retention of the existing home. I'll just mention that I did have a number of discussions with the Cedar Community Association as part of the process, and all of the neighbors were invited to that earlier in this interview. Part of the consultation was to create a new home that would be respecting the neighbors. The property is quite sloped, which is nice, so that the new home can't actually be seen from Clow Valley very easily when it will be built. And the window fenestration, it will maintain the privacy of the neighbors on both sides, and you'll see some photos. The important point here on these slides is this is the proposed new home, the south elevation on Cobb Lane. When you're walking along Cobb Lane, you'll see that. You'll see there's a drawing here with a square window. That's just, we were looking at different designs, but this is the design that we came up with. And what's nice is there's no garage. This actually is the elevation along Cobb's Lane as it now exists. There's a home here with the double garage, and then there's a home a little bit up the hill. As you can see from my cursor, the proposal is creating really, I think, a nice frontage, and the parking is contained on the side, and that'll allow when Cobb Lane gets expanded to just be approved. The lane will be bigger, and there'll be the residence, and this has no suite, as the covenant will be, should this be approved, will be registered, and there won't be any suite. So there should be a more width and better flow of traffic with the removal of the 3 meters. These are some detailed drawings which I won't get into, but what I will just highlight is that on the right, this drawing shows the proposed, the existing home here. This is Clow Valley Terrace, and it slopes down about 10 meters, about 30 feet, and the existing home will be retained there above it. And the new home is a similar footprint. It's sensitive in that it's not much bigger. In fact, it's about the same size as the existing home. Slightly different design, but similar. So to maximize to minimize the footprint and maximize the green space. This is a little bit of a closer look at the proposed home with all elevations here in the bottom section. And you can see that this garage is accessed off the driveway as I point out, but you can see there's only a couple of windows, and that's the bathroom, so there's not going to be a lot of infringement on the privacy of the home to the west, and to the east, there's just a couple of windows there, that's the submitted portion. And this just gives you a colored idea of what the home would look like. It's not perfect, but it will be a great looking home. Looking to be more traditional and conform with the neighborhood. And there will be an easement along the property so that the two lots will have access off of Cobb Lane to park on the property. The request that for rezoning is requires several variances, and that's because, in large part, the road dedications that are shown here on the picture along Clove Valley and on Cobb Lane reduced the lot from about 12,000 square feet to about 11,000, and therefore the request is to create an RS4 lot, which is 100 square meters smaller than the RS6 is. But because the lot is wider and shorter, that's why the variances are requested to create and make the proposed lot, which is lot T, as you heard earlier. You can see here the shared driveway. As I mentioned, there'll be an easement providing access to the existing home, and also to the new double garage that will be accessed off of. I think that provides more flow along Cobb Lane and less and allows for more parking. If there was a double garage at the front, it would probably be more parking by the resident of the new proposed lot. There were a number of tasks as owner that I will be required to do should this proposal be put forth, including the storm management plan. That's, as I mentioned, the site is sloping about 10 meters or 30 feet from Clove Valley down to Cobb Lane, and so that will be taken care of, so there won't be water flooding down into Cobb Lane. There'll be some separate tanks, and the road dedication will widen the road. The building will be built green to enter Evergreen 55, and it will also be suited as requested by planning to allow for solar heating, should that be the desire as the home gets built. And there will be a few additional trees out, as I mentioned, and the idea is, again, it's a sensitive infill, just summing up, that it is retaining the existing character, which I think is quite pleasant and really suits the position where it is on Clove Valley Terrace. And I thank you for the opportunity to speak about this rezoning.
All right, thank you. At this time, I'd like to invite members of the public up to speak in favor or in opposition to this proposal. Are there any members of the public that wish to speak? Please come forward.
I was trying casual wait there to see if I could make sure I wasn't going to be the first one up, but I may be the only one. Anyhow, my name is John Schmuck. I'm president of Quadra Cedar Hill Community Association. I live at 1180 Rock Street. We've been doing a consultation with the proponent, Terry Goldman, for about 18 months. We had met several rainy sessions over there before the weather turned nice over the summer. We take full credit for having this solar ready, because we take the notation from you folks there that solar ready is something that should be in every application. So we advise pretty well everybody we consult with to make sure you have the conduit at least in there for solar, if not national solar system. We also gave them recommendation for the stormwater management. We're very pleased to see that installed there. We sent in a letter January 31st of this year with 5 major concerns. 3 of those concerns, I think, I'm really quite confident that the engineering department will be handling quite well. This traffic exiting from Clavelli onto Cook Street, and the proper use of Cobb Lane as a traffic area for these folks. I was surprised to see the number of letters of objection to this proposal in the package that was submitted through here. Most of them were dealing with the traffic issues. I'm quite confident the traffic issues will be dealt with. Some of them were complaining about parking issues. I really don't believe there will be, because I believe that there's going to be 4 parking spaces in this application. The 5th one was we're concerned about the downzoning creating a precedent for the neighborhood. But we also, after we have a year and a half to think about all these things, we take the advice from planning that this is a good transition from RS6 to the village center that we have at Coin Quadra. As you folks have heard me speak here for probably the last year, we're looking for improvements in that village center. We're looking for more services. We're happy to see this development as one of the stages of that. You have the Bank of Montreal development we spoke about last week as another. There's several other big parcels of land. They're just waiting for development, and we're looking for you folks to be providing some direction to these people. And we want to see more services there. You know, I described it as being a bit of a black hole. The services that have left there, the Bank of Montreal left, the insurance company left, you know, the pharmacy left, the meat shop left, this left, that left. We're looking for new businesses there that will make it a more livable and walkable neighborhood for us. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Are there any other members of the public that wish to speak? Please come forward. Calling for a second time, any members of the public that wish to speak? Calling for a third and final time. Seeing no more speakers, I'll then call an end to the public input period, and I will now look to council for a decision.
Move the recommendation. Second.
Discussion.
This is a very appealing infill. We discussed it at length just recently. I appreciate the down-regulation from the RS6 to the RS4, but it is appropriate, especially when we view the land being separated from the lot for the future benefit of the residents of Sandwich for sidewalks and roadways. So it is a nice development. I'll speak also to the interest in the area to have more businesses go there, to redevelop and make it more vibrant. Absolutely, absolutely. And it was a delight last week to see the proposal from Backfit, which is going to anchor that area, I believe, with the redevelopment of the Bank of Montreal as not only a backfit area, but they're going to provide a gym, they've got a new approach to a sidewalk and a community bench. It's exactly the type of thing. They've got something like 40 parking lots there. Once you get more people coming there, then the other businesses, I believe, will come. Because as a council, we are limited in what we can do to make businesses go to an area. We cannot. We have to attract them with our land use. And I think this development is consistent with the land use policy in that area to help that become revitalized. And I appreciate the comments from the community association. And I believe our staff and council are working towards that goal. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councillor Durham?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm supportive of this rezoning and development permit. I think it is a good place for some limited infill, close to what we hope will become a revitalized village node. My one caution would be the treatment of Cobb Lane. And I understand that the intent over time is to direct more traffic rather than trying to turn left onto Cook from the valley down Cobb Lane. There is always the problem that when you make residential streets wider, the response you tend to get is more rapid traffic. I live on Lucas Avenue, a fairly wide residential street. There is one, as the street winds around, there is one short straight section that's about probably 200 to 300 meters long, no more than that. A few years back, the Residents Association borrowed a speed reading board from Saanich to check speeds on that very short straight section and found speeds as high as 75 kilometers per hour, which absolutely amazed me because I think one almost would have to work at it to get up that speed. That's the case. So I hope when we come up for a design for Cobb Lane, which is a residential street, and will continue to be, in part at least, that we look at the possibility of including some pinch points or other calming measures, something of a chicane, whatever it might be, just to moderate the potential speeds there. I think drivers tend to speed, or to travel at the speed they feel the street is designed for and allows, not necessarily the limit. And I think on residential streets we want to calm that. I trust and I hope that we're past designing residential streets for the purpose of moving cars only or primarily. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Sanders?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I certainly will be supporting this. I feel that it's a very sensitive infill into this neighborhood. It addresses the goals of the local area plan and the OCP. It's a very unique set street. Cobb Lane is quite an interesting, eclectic group of housing. I want to compliment the applicant for listening when it came to committee of the whole and prohibiting secondary suites from the new dwelling by covenant, and also the planting evergreen trees, which will give privacy and sound barrier for the new home rather than the deciduous trees that were proposed. I also like the aspect of having the garage entrance on the side, so I'm not a great proponent of looking at garage doors everywhere we go on the street. So anyway, I think this is a sensitive infill and will be an asset in this neighborhood. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any more discussion? All right, seeing none, I'll call the question on the motion, which is in the recommendation to approve that the application rezoned from RS6 to RS4 be approved, that final reading of the zoning amendment bylaw and ratification of the development permit be withheld pending security bonding in the amount of $3,560.25 for the planting of 3 trees near the front of the lot line, proposed lot number 2, in lieu of providing Schedule 11 boulevard trees. And the final reading of the zoning amendment bylaw and ratification of the development variance permit be withheld pending registration of the covenant, as laid out in the recommendation. I'll call the question. All in favor? Opposed? Unopposed? That motion carries unanimously.
Move second reading.
Thank you. Any discussion? Seeing none, call the question. All in favor? Opposed? None
Move-
opposed?
move third
That
reading.
carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you for that. Call the question on third reading. All in favor? Opposed? None opposed. That motion carries unanimously. And finally, a motion for the application of the development variance permit DVP 00362 to vary the lot depth requirement.
So move.
I believe, isn't that held back to the final meeting?
That is correct, through the chair. It will be final ratification of the development variance will be withheld pending completion of those. What we're doing at this point is council is recommending approval of that to come forward. So it is in order.
All right, then we're done. So let's move to the next item. I invite Mr. David Poggi up to the microphone as our single delegation.
My name is David Poggi. I'm a long-time volunteer in Knocknut Park, and I have a presentation for you tonight. If I can get this thing, I'm not a big, whoops. Oh. No, this one. No, okay. So I'm here to talk about one of my favorite topics for the last 3 months is the Glendenning Road parking ban. So I think I've probably sent you about as much information as I could probably do that. I was gonna do a little bit more tonight, but I just decided to give everybody a little bit of a break. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of a tour around the park to look at some of the issues that relate to or that will come up during the discussion tonight. So anyways, I'm gonna start off. This is the brand new parking ban sign right at the stop sign. This is the last thing you see, almost the last thing you see when you leave Glendenning. I gotta go through this fairly quickly. This is the south end of Glendenning Road looking north. And there you see what I call the first Iron Man on the right, a string of them down the street. The Glendenning Road is we talked about the issue being the narrowness of the road. And this is actually the narrowest point is the 2 trees just near the north end of the park. There's a car. We're talking about cars being a problem on the side of the road. A lot of distance off of the road, and you see this a lot. People just stay off the road.